Okay, I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar on Impact V12. We have a special guest here, Paul Marintat. We will talk to him in a minute. I just want to give you a high-level overview of what's new in the version. So one of the things is, of course, look and feel. So if you're looking at the screen, you're going to see more of a modern feel to it. So that's one of the things. Automation, we have a deep automation package now embedded in it. The data entry screens, not only is it a look and feel, but there are a lot of new controls, and that's going to be its own breakout session. Scripting, of course, has always been around. It's been improved in the product. It enhances some additional functionality or scripting inside of ACT. And reporting. So the reporting tool is not a separate add-on. It's not a separate install. It's right inside of the core product now. So that's just the high-level stuff. But what I want to do is I'm going to hand this presentation over to Paul here. Paul, let's come along and make you the presenter.
All right, showing my screen. Good afternoon, everyone.
We see your feet. You see your beautiful feet up in this.
Oh, there's a nice view out on the Pacific Coast Highway, part of our plans here with our new motorhome. Having some fun. Hey, listen, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. It's a gorgeous afternoon here in Toronto. I hope it is for you as well, wherever you might be. I am going to launch ACT here because I wanted to show one of the first improvements of ACT is how quickly it launches. And you'll notice also we've got an auto login. So that means that now when we hit ACT, this is part of Impact V12. All of the features I'm going to be pointing out are the ones for Impact V12. And you can see how quickly it launches. Now I'm bringing up the demo database that we've all known and loved for so many years. It is largely unchanged, so that gives us a good reference point to begin with. Already I'm up with the Impact modified demo layout, which I've made a couple of changes to, but you can see also that we have a couple of other changes. Now, people who are familiar with Impact will already know that some of these features existed, but there's just so much to the Impact add-on, which is a great thing, but also can be a bit overwhelming. So what we like to do is focus on the features that deliver value. And in the context of this afternoon's webinar with ACT Certified Consultants, specifically, it's the value that we can deliver to our clients with the possibilities that exist within Impact, within one single add-on to install, learn, update, and become proficient in. There is just so much that we can do. And our slogan has always been, do more with ACT. We just passed a couple of weeks ago our first ACT client, which was in September of '87. I can't believe it's been 36 years. But it was only within a matter of a couple of weeks that that client wanted to start doing more with ACT. And of course, ACT has evolved into the SQL database. That was actually 2004. We were in New York in August of 2004 when ACT 8 was released, and now we are on ACT 25. I'm running ACT 25.1 with a second beta refresh, and finding the performance and consistency to be really the best ever. And so I'm very happy to have this setup. Of course, I'm also running Impact Suite, which is the latest build. And you'll notice now that Jim has added a button to go and check and see if we have the latest build. And we can see, yes, the current build is 12.00.38. Now, I got to say, as an ACT certified consultant, products, of course, are critical, but even more than the product, what is critical is to be working with partners who respond to questions, who respond to ideas and thoughts. And I have really loved for, oh gosh, at least the last 15 years with Jim saying, hey, could we do something like this? And an example of that was actually the startup screen, which now will log you in automatically because, I mean, most people probably keep ACT open with their database throughout the day. But there are a lot of times we open and close it. And when we open Act, we always go back to it and go, oh yeah, now it's asking for my login. Now we have an option when starting starting Act to just kick up, launch the program, and we can even control whether that's going to go away quickly or just log you straight in, or delay a couple minutes to allow you to switch, for example, to a different database. But I'm not going to click anything here. You can see the auto login was set to 3 seconds. It drops in, and then I'm going to be at my contact screen in the detail, ready to start working. Typically, it takes about 30-35 seconds for Act to load. The impact overhead is great there too. And actually, watching my clock here was more like 12 seconds. But you know, here we are in. I didn't have to click on anything else to launch it. Now, there are a lot of things that we can do in the control of Impact, and I'd like to keep this down to about 20 minutes. What I want to focus on are the features that deliver value, things that make Act look and work differently or better than before. And one of the most striking changes in Impact version 12 is we now have a full layout editor to be able to quickly and easily modify Act layouts, also templates and dashboards and graphs and list views, all part of the functionality that is built into the one add-on Impact suite, and be able to work from it in a way that allows users to see just the things they need to see to streamline their Act experience. One of the things that we get asked frequently is, I'm working on a monitor or a laptop that doesn't have a lot of room. Can you give me more room on my screen? And one of the things we often do is we'll take the graphic out of the layout, and if anyone's interested, they can ask me about an Easter egg in Impact, but I'll take that out of there. But also going in and removing the big easy, as it's called, in the options, the big easy toolbar at the top. If we hide that at the top instantly, we are given on some laptops as much as an inch of overhead view to be able to see things more readily. So I'm going to actually leave that off right now. But you can see also that I have enhanced startup buttons and startup options rather. And I can go in and have Act open up with campaigns, dashboards, company views, custom views, directly into the reports, or just have it go to whatever we've set as in Act to be the default. Frequently for myself, I'll actually go in and set it up to one of the custom calendars, the daily calendar, because if I flip into Act, usually I need to start being driven by the things that I've got scheduled in with Act in the enhanced calendars. There are a lot of new changes in the Impact Suite controls settings, and I encourage everyone to install the latest build and to look at some of these options. But what this also highlights by going into the options is the ability to do some really unique things that only Impact Suite has been able to deliver in one product. One of those great things is the ability to detach my activities and task list. I am very task oriented as it comes into my use of Act. And so managing my task list is something that I do on a separate screen. So Impact gives us the ability to detach a window inside of Act to go outside of Act and to be placed on a separate monitor. In my case, I have a monitor, I have 3 in my setup. One will usually run with our clients, but the middle one I'll use with my emails, and I have that middle monitor on its side so that it's actually in a portrait mode. And that way I can review long lists, including my tasks and other contact lists. So I have the ability to detach my contact list or to detach my task list or even detach my calendar. And we have many users who respond and enjoy that. Other things that are unique to Impact is, well, we know history list is something that Act now makes available to us to see a list of all of the histories for all of our contacts, but Impact also provides a notes list. And we have so many clients who have users who will go in and make a note after a phone call. And then someone else will go into history and say, well, why doesn't that exist? So within notes, and notes do have their place, we have the ability within Impact over here on the enhanced navigation bar to provide that. So the controls here in the enhanced views is something that has really also been streamlined within Impact Suite version 12. So this is just a new fun stuff. We still have the radius lookup. That has been enhanced. I love this navigation bar on the left. One of the things that I asked, an example of something asking from Jim, is if I go to my previous list and I want to make Melissa Pierce, for example, here, one of my favorites, I can just right click. And again, very intuitive stuff. I always tell our ACT users, if you're ever in doubt, right click and see where that takes you. Now we can go in and move a contact up and down. And this is sort of what I call our speed dial list. So these are people who are in my favorites. And in my own database, I have a long list of favorites. So it really helps that I can go in and set a color, even, just choosing a nice default color for our clients who are golden, and maybe changing the colors to those who are upcoming, and we can go in and make those green. But the nice thing is that I can go in and set a color on the contacts in my favorites list. And oh man, that just sets everything off of my list, having everything color coded. I can navigate very quickly. Another nice thing, of course, goes back to previous versions of Impact as well, is that the list of previous access shows us the time that we were on those records, and it doesn't go away, unlike the back button, which if I had the big easy bar would be up there, but I seldom use, because of course that clears every time you open and close ACT, but the previous lookups are still there. So we get calls from clients all the time, and the majority of our clients are using Impact. It's one of the things that really helps keep me energized with using ACT, is to have these capabilities on the side. And just say I was working with a client and, oh yeah, you mean Casey here? And I'll just double click, go into Casey when I do a remote session and check out the history. Now, those who may not know about the Impact tab indicators, this is also something that I discussed with Jim, probably, I think it was Impact version 9, that we can color code the tabs to indicate the presence of something in that tab. So without having to go into that tab, I can tell there are no relationships already set up here in Casey's record. But if there was, I'd be able to see instantly that there was a relationship here, for example, in Allison's, and I can see how many histories are. That is also something that is controlled here in the tab indicators, which has been enhanced and even allows us now to put custom images in and display a count. And in the case of activities, we can display whether we want them cleared or uncleared. So what that means is that just by at a glance, just moving your eye and not your mouse, I can go in and see that there's one relationship already set up in in Allison's record, and immediately jump back and forth. So that's the tab indicators, and really a big boost to productivity. Another thing I wanted to point out in the Impact Suite settings is the ability to go in and set images, which would be the icons associated with, or rename the ACT views. Many of our clients are financial advisors. And what we have done with many of these financial advisors is they will put the contact records into a company record, but they call them households. Sometimes they'll call it a family. So we can go in and we can actually select even a separate icon for the families. I'm not going to bother digging around for one right now, just to be in the interest of brevity here. I'm just going to rename that to family. And by doing that, our financial advisor clients who will have a separate record for each member of that family, with, of course, all their various custom tables, now called custom views within Impact version 12. we have the ability
Hey,
to
Paul.
enjoy. Yes, sir.
Paul, yeah, I just wanted to point one thing out, which I thought was one of the great. If you go back into the Impact, there are, with Impact, with the installer, literally a couple of thousand images that come with the product. So, like when you went into family here, you said select images.
Go to color
If
or
we
office,
go,
people.
yeah, if you go into office and history, you're going to find that you have almost any type of charts here. Again, these are all icons that are provided with Impact Suite. I just wanted to point that out because I put so many online. All right, back to you, Paul. Sorry.
And so being able to rename company records to family is massive. I think company records for many of our clients, ACT users, are not using company records very much. And of course, for financial services, insurance, that sort of thing, having a family button instantly makes it relatable. And we can go in with Impact now, and by renaming it family, they can organize those contacts into family records. Now, there are other areas too that we can link. Obviously, we have the relationships. We have, if we go into a company record, we may go in and see obviously the contacts for that company record. And by the way, the tab indicators does work on company records as well in the company tabs in your layout design. I just haven't gone in and tweaked those to set that there. But if I go back to a contact record here, this is one of the unique Impact controls up at the top here to the right, where all contacts in my database that share the last part of the email, the URL part here, in this case, yjbikes.email, will be listed. So even without those contacts being a member of the company record, I have the ability to very quickly switch over. And you can see, notice as well, things are very quick in Impact. Our lookups, our list views, our enhanced searches is so much faster with Impact, especially version 12. There's been some massive improvements in speed and doing searches. And of course, I don't know if many people know about this, but Impact can be Control plus, Control minus, or using the wheel on your mouse and holding down the Control key at the same time. We can resize the Impact views as well, which is quite awesome. And of course, if you want to put that on a separate screen or split your screen, you have the ability to adjust that too, which is also awesome. So going back to the features, of course, if you are using AMA, I'm not in the right one, so I'm not going to be able to bring that up. But the AMA button is still available, even with the navigation bar. So you're really not giving anything up. And in fact, when you go up to Impact and you say, enhance the navigation bar, and people see this, it's like, wow, yeah, I remember when ACT did that too. I mean, little things like, if I want to go find somebody, I just go Control F from anywhere, and instantly my left search button here goes to where I would start searching. So if I start typing a name, instantly it's going to come up. And I have the ability as well to change my default to doing a lookup by contact or by company or which field I'm going to do a search on. But Control F, just bang, goes straight in there. It's nice and it's green, and that's perfect. Another thing that has really prevented a lot of people from engaging the value of company fields is the ability to go in and add a company field to a contact layout. Now it is read-only. I just bring this up here, but I can see that Ernst Anderson with CH Tech 1, and I left it in its default location, which is company info. We can see that the territory is Northeast. But we wouldn't be able to see company fields like what their account number is, or what their sales volume is, or who the sales manager for that account is. If we are in someone's contact record, the only way would be to go over and see. Now you see, as I refresh there, I had changed CH Tech 1 to being in the North Territory. So the ability to see company fields in a read-only mode in a contact view just adds huge value. And of course, you can add any one of the company fields to the contact layout. And we started doing that, I think, Jim, 11 or maybe 10, maybe it was 10, I think. That
I think it was about, about there. 10, I think it was first introduced.
Yeah. We've gotten such great response from our customers who didn't previously make that good a use, if at all, of the company records, because now you have the ability to see a company field associated with a contact if that contact is now members of the company. So that's it's just in terms of the overall efficiency of the Impact screen, being able to put things where you want them, and streamlining the design of it to suit our customers provides us things that really we've only been able to do with Impact. And that's me.
Paul, I think we lost you there a little bit. I see Paul, and I see he's still on. I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear him anymore.
Great. Can we establish? Hey there. Okay. Audio. Everyone hearing me?
I can hear you, Paul. Yes, I think everybody else is on mute, but I hear you in the pool, so everything should be okay.
All right, because I couldn't see any response in the chat or questions. All right, good. Okay, well, thank you, Jim, for bringing me back online. Our GoToWebinar session ended on my side, and I rejoined. So where we left off was looking at a contact detail, but I have to say the magic sauce for us has always been the ability for Impact to be able to mix various entities within ACT, to be able to see, well, now they're called, you'll notice my company records are called family, but to be able to see the company fields mixed into a list of contact fields, huge. The ability to also integrate group and activity and opportunity fields, also awesome. And then, of course, we have all the other enhancements of rules that will automatically establish rules based on a field value or empty fields, and to be able to change the style with the bars. So if I, for example, was to expand all, I have them grouped right now. To take off the grouping, I simply drag that off there. But having just the gray and white is awesome. But of course, if you wanted to establish a color rule, you can do that as well. And as I mentioned, that we can also do this on a second monitor. So we can see our contacts on the main screen and our lists on another. That is unique to Impact. I love being able to group and then collapse. So let's go here and down and collapse them all. And we can do a count as well. And Jim has shown me in the past how to put the counts onto another column so we can go through. But this allows us to find oddballs and ACT administrators who are cleaning up databases, doing imports. Oh my gosh, they love that feature. And of course, great thing about list views is that we can have multiple list views. So we can duplicate one, and we'll just call this demo 1. We'll create a second list to have, for example, if we want to see in the ACT marketing, if that is something that is asked for by the contact, and then we want to put the email address in, we'll drop that in too, move that up, and then we can see up here, we have the whether or not they have an opt-out. And if I do it expand all, take off we'll go in and be able to work with these lists. But just the fluidity at which we can do our searches down below here, right click, select none. As an ACC, I'll bet it must happen at least 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week. We'll get a call from someone who's saying, I'm not looking at my histories because what happened to them? They're all gone. Anything older than today? Well, usually because the filter has changed. And one of the things that Jim added here is, and if the filter is set to anything less than all, make the background yellow. So here, for example, I'm just choosing various states. And of course, I can bring this up so I can see the states that I want to view and add into my list. But if it's anything less than all, the background will remain yellow to indicate that you've got your filter set. These are little intuitive things, but as you start using Impact with ACT, it doesn't, I mean, it still catches me out sometimes if I have my filter set to none and why I'm not seeing everything I was anticipating. But down here at the bottom, if I can see at least that the background is yellow, that really helps. And of course, being able to do your enhanced lookups. And so here we can go in and create a new lookup. And of course, these are all the advanced queries, which we can open up and save and manage within the list view right down here. So people don't even have to go and find it in a menu. One of the things that when we have tested Impact with, I think it was just over 1 million contacts, we were able to put the lookup row and find very quickly, just by going up to the top here and typing something like service, and instantly anyone who's got the word service in that field pops up. And even with very, very, very large databases, I mean, exaggerated and larger than most of our clients would ever have, we're getting instant responses and the ability to go in and to clear that search or to go in and fine tune searches to be able to bring more contacts in and look up all, for example, within one screen and not have to flip around. So we just have so much tied into one screen. This is the enhanced list view. I think, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, we've covered what is new in V12 here as far as contacts and list views. Is there anything else?
No. That's, I mean, it's a smorgasbord of old and new, but yes, no, that really has covered everything.
Cliff is going to be doing a presentation next week, Cliff Roberts, and he's going to do it on the layout editor, which is really powerful, especially now that we can also modify and streamline what is available on screen, because that has opened up some really new and exciting capabilities to truly use ACT for Windows, which means all of the full features of ACT for Windows, not in a browser, but in a remote desktop environment from any device, where we can go in and then start integrating buttons into the layout where automated functions can then be executed directly from within calendars, within the contact views, and really do some pretty extremely exciting things in that whole area. I'm not going to go too much deeper into that right now, but there's definitely more to come as it occurs using ACT from remote as well, because it eliminates the need for any kind of sync delay. We're just going direct to the database and seeing everything that's in there.
Right. All right. Well, I wanted to thank Paul for doing the presentation today. This is part of my my series of having the ACCs showing the product, just not me, the developer, showing you all the buttons, but these guys like Paul are showing you how the buttons get used and how they implement them and how much time saving. So again, I want to thank Paul for presenting, and I want to thank everybody for attending. Those that could make it, I know we had a few people that said the time zone, they were in Australia. We're going to be sending them links and when this is posted on the website shortly. All right, again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and have a wonderful day.